see the empty bookcases. Some of my books have been cleaned up. Well, I don't think we have to concentrate on the floor or anything like that.
Okay.
That's good.
This is my dictating equipment, my telephone. It's miscellaneous material. That's an artificial plant, which is the ice stage green. These are current files, so are those on the credenza.
Where's the picture of me?
I took that home. That's, you and Sarah were taken home last week.
I'm Sarah.
Or you and Elizabeth were taken home. So, that's it.
Tell us about how the dictaphone works.
You put in a cassette, which I won't do. This, by the way, will go home. You press it, and testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Press it, and testing 1, 2, 3, 4. You can play it back anytime you want to.
Do you ever sing into it for fun?
I certainly never have sung into it. I think Vicki would disown me. So, anyway, that's roughly
what about the picture behind you?
That's from the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City. We bought that. It's obviously fake, but we bought it. I think it's faded. That's a thing. That's a picture of some birds flying that I thought was very beautiful. I got it from some Palo Alto photographer. First saw it in the Palo Alto main library. Over there, the stitchery is by Ellen Milner, a wonderful client of mine who died of pancreatic cancer a few years ago. And the black and white is an abstract study of Rembrandt's Night Watch, done by Diana Earle, who was a friend of mine and a client. And that's about all. I've taken the horses home that my father had. That's my office.
How about over here?
Wait, there is nothing over there. That's where the dictionary was. I don't spend too much time on it. I mean, that picture obviously will go home. And the saying.
Which says what?
Vote for Chalmers, he doesn't know much more than you do. He's a New Yorker cartoon, I'm sure.
All right, well, let's go around the office.
Now, why don't you cut it off for a second?
Introduce the camera to Vicki.
This is my secretary, Victoria Ward. Please put a stamp on that.
Oh, I thought it was going to be
That's beautiful. She's the star of this movie.
in the background.
Stacy Merrill.
Bobby, did your wave come back around? Oh, hi.
And this is the
Actually,
chairs.
are we photographing the first time you've ever used an office stamp for a personal thing, and it's right on camera?
No, it's not. Because sometimes I've used, it's not the first time.
Not the first time.
Come in here. This is the photocopy room. Go and look. And that's Kim, our new secretary.
Hi.
Yes.
Signing.
And here is our library and conference room. That conference table may go to Tom Kornberg. Nobody seems to want it except Tom Kornberg.
Is this your computer, Dad?
No, that's Alan's. That's, well, it's the office computer.
And there's a fax machine?
Yeah. Here's my supplies storage things.
Do I get to take all that stuff home?
No,
Use it in
that's
the
going to
closet?
be used taken to Goodwill.
Do you some things? Do you have
The
things like
books in
tape?
this room right now are Alan's. What?
Seriously.
What?
There's a lot of stuff I could use in my classroom that I buy on a regular basis.
Well, I mean, you can take a look at it, but I don't think there's much. I'm really enervated with he does. There's the coat rack that you're going to be using.
Yep. Good, I don't have to throw my coats on the floor.
If it doesn't cart it off by somebody. All right, now what do you want to know?
Tell me how you got interested in law.
I became interested in law because my father was a lawyer. We used to go to trials together, and I think by reading the most influential book in my life, which was Clarence Darrow for the Defense by Irving Stone, it was a terribly exciting book and very, very interesting. And from that time on, I read numerous books about the law and famous attorneys and their cross-examinations. You know, everything in trials is taken down, so a lot of the famous trials of history are transcribed verbatim. And that's how I became interested. I went to Stanford Law School because when I went to Pomona College as an undergraduate, I became healthy after being not very healthy as a boy up to the age 18.
What happened to you as a boy?
Well, I just had pneumonia and infections and sinus trouble and every disease conceivable. Of course, by and large, we didn't have antibiotics, at least until I was 15. But I was healthy at Pomona. I never sick a day, so I went to Stanford, never sick a day. And I decided I'd remain in California and practice here. So I got a job in San Jose in February 1955. And
Where?
that was with the firm of Malavos, Mager, Newcomer, and Chasuk. And
what did you do?
I helped out in San Jose. They also had an office in Mountain View, and I helped mostly Herman Mager, who was the San Jose attorney. And Mr. Newcomer left the firm shortly after I got there. He was there only about 2 years. But I stayed with that firm until April 1st, 1969. That's over 14 years. The firm itself broke up on December 31st, 1969. I went out on my own in Palo Alto, and I have been in this office I've been in this office since January 1st, 1979. First with Elster Hale, and then on July 1st, 1986, Alan Wickelmoon moved in and replaced Elster Hale. Before that, I was at 260 Sheridan Avenue most of the time, and about 1 year in Palo Alto Square number 2. And my practice has been family law, which is a euphemism for divorces. I do wills, trusts, and estates, and estate planning, and I do landlord-tenant work. And if something interests me, I'll take that.
For example?
All to do contracts, real estate. I once defended a person who was losing his security clearance at Lockheed because it was an interesting case. We lost.
Tell us some of your more interesting cases.
The biggest case I ever handled didn't involve a lot of money, but it set an enormous precedent that cost the U.S. government millions and millions of dollars. When a widow is receiving Social Security that she derived from her husband, and she remarries, she loses her Social Security. And I had a case where the widow remarried and then had her remarriage annulled as distinguished from a divorce. The annulment means the remarriage never existed, and that had never been decided in 1957, 1958, around there, 56, 57, 58, and in the case of Pearsall versus Folsom, I won it in the district court in San Francisco. They appealed to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in San Francisco, and I won that, and I was told that it's a precedent. It cost the government about $25 million, which the money at that time was an awful lot. That didn't involve much for Mrs. Pearsall, but as a precedent, it did involve a huge amount of money. I have, I suppose, interesting cases that I've handled. The man without a birthday, whose whose birth certificate in Florida listed his date of birth as September 31st of some year. And that might not bother many people, but he was terribly bothered by the fact that he didn't have a birthday that he could call his own. And so I was finally able to straighten that out and get him a birthday. When I was dealing with the Florida authorities, that birth certificate was September 30th. They changed it. And he was terribly grateful. He was very, very grateful to me.
How did they figure out his birthday?
Well, we said it had to be that. So it was either going to be that or October 1st, and he preferred September 30th. So.
Is that our astrological sign?
No, I don't believe in astrology. Neither does he, as far as I'm concerned. As far as I know.
Was that the only thing you did with that guy?
What?
Is that the only thing you did with that guy?
I probably did other things. That's the one I remember. I'm sure I did his will. Then there was the case of the missing diamond, where a crooked jeweler substituted a zircon in for a $10,000 diamond that a Los Altos woman owned, and I was able to get it back by threatening criminal prosecution. That was an easy case. And as a fee, I took the zircon diamond, my wife Carolyn has it in a necklace. At least I think it's still in the necklace. She still has the zircon. But a jeweler of good repute told me I'd been gypped in my fee because the zircon isn't worth much. Then I had the case of the missing violin, where we raided a man's apartment. You could do that back in 1955, 1956. And
you just walked right into somebody's
no, we took a violin to test out, and then he wouldn't return it to a very, very famous New York violin dealer named Jacques Francais. I represented Mr. Francais, and we...
How did he happen to find you in the yellow?
Because I had met him before in 1954 when I went to his shop with my father. And he hired me, and we raided the man's apartment, but the violin wasn't there. And all the time I was looking, an acquaintance of mine had the violin. The guy had left it with him and pawned it with him. He was a total crook, this guy. Not my acquaintance, but this guy who took the violin. But he got money for it. And Jacques Francais and this acquaintance, when they found out who had made a settlement, and I got nothing for my fee. Then I had the case of a missing finger, which was when we used to take turns representing criminal defendants who had no money. Now they're represented by the public defender. But I took my turn and met one of the most likable, nice men I have ever met in my whole life. I don't know, that's, you know, to be, he was a check kiter, a forger, who would come in and pass checks, and that's a skilled profession. You've got to be able to make people have confidence in you. I probably would have cashed his check myself. I liked him so much. And sitting there talking. And he kept saying, I'll never do it again. Well, he'd been in for about 4 or 5 times. He'd done this, and I said to myself, yeah, sure. He said, I'll never do it again. Really? You didn't get me off? I'll never do it again. And then to prove it, the next day he cut off his finger in the jail kitchen to prove to the judge that he would never do it again. I don't know what became of him. That would be interesting.
Did they let him out of jail?
I really don't remember the upshot of that case. It was a terribly grisly case. There have been many changes over the years. The word processor is an enormous change. Attorneys being able to advertise is an enormous change. The fax machine is an enormous change. The use of the computer to figure out taxes and even divorce settlements, and spousal support and child support is an enormous change. We used to do it by the dead reckoning. There have been a whole lot of changes. I guess that's the story. I do remember very vividly my first day on the job. I suppose I'll remember my last day, which will be June 30th. Although essentially I have no more appointments. Today is June 25th, and I'm just going to be in the process of getting rid of these books, putting my files into storage, moving some of the furniture to my house, some to storage at Shugard's storage, and all of my wills that people haven't picked up down to the law office of John F. Foley in San Jose, who's my own attorney.
Now, what are you going to do in your retirement?
We're going to travel. I'm going to take viola lessons. I'm going to practice probably daily. Play chamber music, as I always have. I'm going to read. We'll take walks, weekend trips, but we'll do that on Tuesday or Wednesday. We will. I hope to become computer literate. I hope to be useful around the house. Let's see, there are other things that I'd like to do. Of course, I'll be going to the 49er games as usual. And maybe the hockey games down in San Jose. I don't know about that, how long that'll last.
What are some of the things you think you'll miss about the profession of law?
Well, you get up in the morning, you have a reason for getting up. A friend of mine just told me that you have to have a reason for getting up. And I wonder about that. I'm a little bit more anxious about it than when I made my decision to retire at the age of 64. I am, there were other things that I planned to do, but when you're a lawyer, you use your head constantly. You're constantly keeping up with things. You're storing information. You keep your brain alive and alert. I hope that I can keep my brain alive and alert, and I think I can. And I have pretty decent health, though I can feel some changes coming at age 60. Since I've been 60 years old. I think I have decent health, and so Carolyn and I can do what we like to do, which is to travel and walk, watch the children grow up.
Speaking of children,
Yes.
when Liz and I were born, did that change your job at all? Did you start working fewer hours or anything?
No. I have no effect. I don't think.
You've always left the house at 8:45 and come home at 5:15.
No, much earlier when I was commuting to San Jose.
That's true.
And of course I leave even earlier than that if I have a court appearance, something like that. But right now I have no further court appearance. Well, I've got one case left actually. And I might give it to John Foley. I'm losing my steam. And next Wednesday, the movers will come and take all my files. And all his furniture will be gone. Everything.
What about your favorite chair?
I think this is going to go to it'll go to the Goodwill.
It's been a good chair.
It's been a good chair. I can sleep. I can take a nap in this chair when I want to. And I normally can't stay awake. I normally can't sleep when I'm sitting up.
Does it have a recliner, or you just put your head back?
So that's it. That's the end. That's the story of my life. Okay, off.
I don't think